Shalom, my brothers and sisters in the truth. What's going on, world? What's going on, everybody? Hope y'all doing well. So, crazy times, man. Crazy time to be alive, to be honest with you, man. And, the times that we're living in, man, it definitely requires a lot of isolation, a lot of time to yourself, being very cautious and self-controlled before making decisions, man, because people are selling out on a daily basis. People are giving in, and they're just kind of losing all integrity, man, just to make a check. And so I just wanted to make a quick video, man. I don't really want to make this too long, but it's just kind of on my heart to speak about, man. Just, in my life, man, I know I've touched on a couple of different parts of my testimony, leading me up to where I find myself right now in life. And choosing this path of righteousness, choosing the path that is less traveled, man, it's gonna come with a lot more hardships than the rest of the world, and that's just reality, But over here in Babylon, we still do have a lot more opportunities than a lot of other countries in the world, man. So even as messed up as it is and as oppressed as a select groups of people have been, we still do have a lot more opportunities still in order to kind of try to get things right on this side. But with me, I know I've spoken on the fact that I'm a carpenter. I've done carpentry work for every bit of 10 years now, and it's taken a lot of time to really perfect my craft, doing all kinds of different things with it, and really just developing that skill to where I'm to the point now where I'm ready to pass the baton to other people and still do it myself, but I'm working on getting more people involved with it, and I'm constantly praying about that. And it's a lot bigger picture than, like I said in my last video, than just working on a house, man. It's an opportunity to really improve the community. It's an opportunity to really give somebody that's living in the house a lot more joy and take a little bit more pride in the place that they live. And there's always an opportunity to spread the gospel, to spread the truth, and to spread the good news, and that's ultimately the main goal and the main mission that someone that chooses the path less traveled that has. We have that mission. So but I just wanted to kind of just maybe try. I'm hopefully saying some stuff that other people can relate to, but I just want to speak on my life for a second, and just stuff that I've overcome, and to give all glory to the Most High God of Israel, man, for leading me through all this stuff. But I found myself, financially, I wouldn't so much say I'm struggling financially, but I definitely am not sitting in prosperity financially, and I appreciate it, man, because honestly it keeps me in that humble spirit, and it constantly reminds me of the kingdom to come, and it constantly reminds me to not be building my kingdom down here, or this kingdom down here. It constantly keeps me in that kind of state of mind, which is healthy and it's good. But I think this message can be appreciated by certain people, because with that being said, man, I've had to overcome a lot of obstacles in order for me to even get to the position I'm in right now. And like I said, it's not necessarily in the eyes of the world the best position, but it's I've persevered. I've had to persevere. I've had no other option but to persevere in a lot of situations. But I'll give a couple examples, man. My younger years, I've been arrested a couple times, and every time, it came with a different consequence, and I've ultimately learned my lesson from all those situations that I put myself in, not to put myself in that situation again. But there's been a lot of times where, whether it be the government or the powers that be, have tried to oppress me and take away certain things from me, and just basically cause a hindrance. in my life, you know. And like I said, man, that just constantly has led me to having to persevere and push through all these hardships in order for me to put myself in a better position, not just for myself, but to put myself in a good position to where I can eventually help put others in good positions as well, you know. But you know, if you find yourself, man, dealing with some hardships that may seem like you know, you can't handle it, and it's too much to bear, just always remember the one that we believe in, you know. He was not only aware of the ultimate sacrifice that had to be made on the cross, but he embraced it, you know. He prayed to the Father, Lord, if you could take this cup from me, Lord, but you know, ultimately let your will be done. You know, he prayed that, man. And from there, man, he embraced his cross. He embraced getting whipped and flogged and, you know, his body torn apart and shedding all that blood for his people, man. You know, as an ultimate sacrifice, man. And that's why we believe what we believe, man, because you know, he died for he died for our sins, he died for our iniquities. You know, and you know, so if you find yourself dealing with obstacles and situations, man, that just seem too much to bear, too much to overcome, just remember what he went through for us, you know. And you know, constantly keep that in mind, man, and all the hardships, man, because, like, think about it, man. The Son of Man came and he should have been served, but he came to serve. You know, he came humble. He rode into Jerusalem right before the crucifixion on a donkey. You know, all the people back then were expecting a savior to come through on a majestic white horse with swords and ready to physically get carnal and, you know, act out of a worldly way with war and stuff. But man, there is a war, but it's a spiritual war. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. You know, we wrestle against spirits. You know, spirits and principalities of things that are unseen. So remember those things, man. And I also wanted to kind of touch on this too, man. You know, so with the increase of lawlessness down here, you know, and this goes back to the whole crucifixion thing, and you know, that being the ultimate sacrifice. You know, back in the Old Testament, you know, the prophets back then, man, it was a process that was steadily building up from prophet to prophet to prophet. Every prophet that came after the previous one, there was always events that happened to lead towards other things. And you know, Moses played a significant role in the Old Testament with the law and with the Ten Commandments, you know, and just bringing forth some kind of structure and order to the people. But obviously, you know, throughout the whole Old Testament, nobody could ever obey those laws, and nobody could ever nobody was ever able to just you know, fulfill the law. You know, it was always broken. It was always being broken. That's the whole reason why Christ, who the world calls Christ, he came. You know, he came to the earth because he knew no sin. There was no sin found in him. He was blameless. He was blameless. Sorry. You know, metaphorically, he was the lamb. He was the lamb that was slain, man. But you know, he basically he didn't come to abolish. He said that in the Gospels, man. I didn't come to abolish the law, meaning I didn't come to get rid of everything that Moses and the Most High God gave to Moses. I didn't come to get rid of that. I came to fulfill it. And by fulfilling it, what he meant was, this is the final sacrifice that is going to be made once and for all. It's a once and for all thing, you know. And so when you find yourself very burdened, you find yourself in situations to where you feel like you cannot overcome the situation. It's too much for you to bear, especially in this society, in this generation that we find ourselves in. I would be bold enough to say that most people right now are depressed. because they don't know the Most High. They don't know the love of the Father. They don't know the sacrifice through the real Son of the Most High God, man, the real Christ. You know, they don't know what that feels like to really believe that, to know that. The beginning of it is knowing that, you know, but it's also believing in that, you know, believing in that sacrifice that was made to be that once and for all sacrifice. But taking your burdens, taking everything that you can't handle, taking everything that you just know is like out of your power to be able to overcome, and laying it at the foot of the cross, man. Because Christ was strong enough to not only embrace that, but to nail that to the cross, to be buried, or, you know, be put in a tomb, go to sleep, quote unquote, and then rise, you know, for once and for all, man. You know, he could never die, you know. There is no death when it comes to the Most High God of Israel, man. It is life, and it's life abundantly. You know, down here we got life, but it's all temporary, man. And in this whole concept of the world and in heaven and hell and stuff, man, you got to remember, man, in a lot of ways, heaven is this world. You know, the Most High loves his creation, man. And the creation was beautiful at one point before these devils got their hands on a lot of these things, man, and just manipulated it to the point to where it is right now. You know, at one point in time, creation from the Most High God was a beautiful thing, man. And it still is. You can still see the beauty in it, but all in all, man, it's been tampered with. You know, it's flawed, and it needs restoration. It desperately needs restoration. Sorry, but like I'm saying, man, you know, you got to remember that this life and everything we do in it down here, like I was saying at the beginning of this video with the carpentry and stuff, that's all great, man. It's all good. Like I want to improve as many lives as I can, both physically but ultimately spiritually. But I want people to just know that on a daily basis, man, I'm in the mindset of thinking eternally. I'm in the mindset of thinking of the kingdom. I'm in the mindset of thinking of the Most High God of Israel and his son. I'm in the mindset of thinking ahead. I'm thinking ahead. Everybody's thinking of, like, if people down here on this earth think ahead, the only way they think ahead is what the media is gonna push out tomorrow, or what's gonna be the main topic that everybody talks about next week, or just that's far ahead as they think. But at the end of the day, it's still worldly. Everybody's in this worldly kind of mindset, in this worldly perspective, man. But a true believer, man, it's going to constantly be reminded of the Spirit, and it's going to constantly be seeking the Spirit, and it's going to constantly be shedding everything that is out of the flesh and everything that is temporary off. You know, we're constantly shedding off of whatever we got to shed off, you know. Without really caring whatsoever what the world says or thinks about us, you know, because in the scriptures he tells us, you know, if the world loves you, the love of the Father's not in you, man. You know, but when the world hates you, remember that it hated him first. Remember that. Remember how terrible it was for him to be beaten and flogged and whipped and crucified the way he was. Remember how terrible that was, because it hated him first, man. But not just the Son of the Most High, but also the Most High through the commandments in Moses. You know, not obeying the commandments that Moses was given, you know, to the people. They didn't want to obey that, whether it be in Egypt or wherever, man. You know, I mean, all these things are to be reminded of, man, or remembered, should I say. You know, the world has always been, it's always had enmity between the Most High God, you know? And so, you know, but the chosen, man, the chosen are very special people, man. And, you know, Christ came to call people out of this world, you know, and it, in a lot of ways it requires action, man. It does. it requires a lot of resistance as well, you know, resisting to put yourself in certain situations, resisting to put yourself around certain people, resisting to even give certain people the time of day. There's a lot of things that people try to say to me or were trying to say to me, and I just, you know, a lot of times, man, you know, especially when you're the type of person like me, man, and I just got a heart for, I have compassion for people who I know are trying, who have potential, you know, to become a lot more spiritually mature and better. I have a heart for that, but even so, man, you gotta ignore a lot of stuff, man, and pray for those people, man. But pray that eventually, you know, that they would be awakened spiritually. But ultimately, man, focus on you, focus on your salvation, focus on your life and getting yourself in order, man, because you cannot make any kind of impact in anybody else if your own heart and your own spirit, well, your heart's always going to be messed up on this side, man. You can't trust your own heart. It says that in Jeremiah. But if your own spirit is out of whack, if your own spirit is not in alignment to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God of Israel, and through the gospel of His Son, the real Christ, you know, you can't expect to have a positive spiritual impact in somebody else's life if your spirit is not in the right alignment. It has to be in the right alignment. So that's important, you know. Focus on that. Whether you got to isolate for a couple of days and really get yourself right, man. But don't put yourself in a situation to where you don't talk to nobody. You know, relationships are important. They require a lot of work, whether it be friendships or, you know, your significant other, whoever, family. It requires effort. It does. But don't, if it's getting to the point to where it is becoming a burden and it's draining you of your energy, then you have every right to cut that off for a little while, you know, not forever, but for now, you know. And so anyway, man, I just wanted to bring this, and I just hope that I hope that everybody's doing well. You know, this society, man, is constantly wanting to be fed, you know. Everybody just tunes in. They click a button and they tune in, and they just listen and listen, and they just soak up everything that they're listening to, whether it be music or the news or watching TV, watching movies, or social media, whatever, man. Just be very, very careful what you're soaking up. You know, if you're not in those scriptures every day, man, and when I say every day, I mean every day. Sometimes 2-3 times a day is what's required, man, in order for you to make it through that day. But you got to be in those scriptures. You got to be listening to spiritual people that are spiritual speakers, who are really not motivational speakers, but really spiritually operating, you know. And then even the people around you, man. Test the spirits, man. Test the spirits, because I promise you, most people walking around, you know, I've heard this from a lot of people here recently, and I believe it myself, but a lot of people amongst us in this world, they're not fully human. There's so much transhumanism going on right now, between robots and who the world would call aliens and stuff, man. It's a lot of weird stuff going on with technology and the powers that be. So, but just humans, just speaking on humans, even humans, man, they're not even humans at this point, man. A lot of people have twisted their DNA so far, man, and just been so manipulated, like I'm saying, from all just being fed all this stuff all the time. They're not the creation that the Most High intended. So just be careful, man. Be very cautious, man, because a majority of the world does not have the love of the Father. And the majority of the world, when you don't have the love of the Father, you know, you got to be very cautious how you move and how you maneuver. And it's just increasing by the day, you know. Iniquity and lawlessness is increasing by the day. And it all said that all these things were going to happen. So, you know, the devil's very patient, and he's going to stretch this misery as far and as long as he can. But his time is short. Compared to the Most High God, his time's short, and he knows that. So, you know, ultimately he's gonna be, and then his destruction is gonna end in a very, very it's gonna end in a big shebang. But he knows his time is short, and he knows that the Most High is forever. So and he can't do nothing about it. But they're trying to change that. So just remember, the truth never changes, and the Most High never changes. His Son never changes. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So as this world continuously changes, remember that. Remember that he never changes, man. So I hope this encourages somebody. I hope y'all are doing well. And till next time, man. Shalom, shalom. Peace and blessings. All praise to the Most High, man.